Hello and welcome to the Beginner's Guide to Dota 2, created by Nexus, presented by me, Hollow. Dota is a 10-player battle that takes about an hour to complete. In these 10-player games, teams are split up into two, and each team has 5 players. Each player takes control of one hero and gets to use it to fight in these battles. Each player is assisted by computer-controlled units and structures. These structures are known as towers, and these computer-controlled units are known as creep. The goal of each game is destroy the opposite's ancient. Ancients are heavily defended structures, and they're located in the middle of each base. There's an incredible amount of depth to Dota 2's gameplay, and at first it can be quite intimidating and hard to understand and get everything down. Because of this, this guide is set out to help you get to the point where you understand the game and to the part where you can start learning each individual hero and playing how you want to play. There's more than just basics here. We'll also give you advanced techniques, information that you'll need to know the basics before you can understand, comprehend, and even use. Slowly these videos will be updated to include more and more information, and if there's anything you're unsure about, feel free to ask in the comments below. Let's get started then, shall we? When your hero dies in Dota, a few things happen. You will have to wait a certain amount of time, which is your level times 4 in seconds. The opponents gain experience and gold from killing you, and your allies lose a valuable asset temporarily, which is you. Dying in Dota can be pretty unpleasant, even more when it happens to you when you're not sure why. There are a few basic rules that you can learn and follow that will help you stay alive, especially when facing better opponents. A lot of beginner players tend to go for items like Boots of Speed or Gloves of Haste, random items like this that don't really benefit you and sort of ignore cheap ways to increase your survivability dramatically and also give you an offensive edge that would cost a lot less than the items that we just talked about. We'll start with regeneration. To start with, let's start with regeneration. Tangos. Tangos provide healing that cannot be interrupted. Over time, it slowly ticks up your health, and you get multiple for buying one. They're great for healing up in the middle of the action. Healing salves. These are interrupted when receiving damage, so you need to stay back after using them. A salve heals you about half to 3/4 of your health early on. These very well could put you to full health after use at early game. Clarity Potion. These are also interrupted when you receive damage. You stay back after using them, and it allows you to cast more spells. Bottle. This heals health and mana. Empty bottles will automatically refill when you return to your fountain, making them useful all game. They can also store runes. We'll talk more about runes in following videos. Magic Stick. Slowly accumulates heal and mana on standby. This item's great against specific opponents who use spells frequently. Items that increase your stats. Gauntlets of Giant Strength, Slippers of Agility, Mantle of Intelligence. These items give you very minor +3 bonuses to these specific attributes, but are very useful early game and also build into next items. Circlet of Nobility gives you 2 rounded attribute bonuses to all stats. These usually are intended to make braces, Wraith Band or Null's Talismans. Ironwood Branches, +1 to all stats. Cheap and effective, but these take a lot of slots pretty quick. These are part of making a magic wand, the upgrade to a magic stick. Let's talk about patience. You need to keep an eye on the timer at the top of your screen. When it counts down to 0 at the start of the game, this is when the first wave of creeps will spawn from your base, at your 3 towers and slowly walk outwards in their lanes. They will continue walking along the lanes until they reach the enemy creeps or the enemy towers. It is a good idea to stay near and behind these creeps because they can provide you with safety from enemy attacks and also help you farm. Creeps, while you can easily kill one while it's by itself, their strength is their numbers. A common mistake of new players is to attack multiple creep by themselves, so you need to stay behind your own creeps so that you can fight them at your leisure without any danger of being attacked by enemy creeps. Creeps spawn every 30 seconds. Towers. The primary defense measure for both teams. Standing behind your towers is a great way to get enemies to back off. Towers deal a very large amount of damage to your hit points, making them powerful unless there are other targets already in their attack range. You need to try and figure out the distance that a tower can fire and how it works with creep. Both creeps and towers will change the targets to attack you if you have chosen to attack an enemy hero in their vicinity. This can be made clear in this example here. Next up is spells. Dying to spells is very common to new players. They might not understand each individual effect or mechanic of many of the heroes in Dota. There are hundreds of unique abilities in Dota, so it would appear very daunting to have to learn and read about every single hero and all of their moves that they can do. So instead, try to place the spells that you've seen into certain categories so you know how to react to them in the future. Direct damage. These spells often do a lot of damage instantly and quickly to an opponent. This is great for harassing or finishing them off. Try to be careful of these spells to keep your current HP relatively high. Examples of this will be Tinker's Laser or Culling Blade by Axe. Area of Effect spells. Affect only the area specified by your opponent. These spells can sometimes be avoided if you can be unpredictable, confuse your opponent, move in ways that you wouldn't expect, or just keep your distance so the spells cannot reach you. Examples of this will be Sonic Wave by Queen of Pain, or Macropire by Jericho. Damage over time. Rather than instant damage, these abilities do their damage in little segments, but can come with extra effects, slows, stuns, this type of thing. While this will prevent Healing Salve and Bottle from healing you, regeneration items and specific abilities, or items such as Mechanism can be still used. Examples of this would be Venomous Scale by Venomancer. Disables or stuns. These spells stun you and prevent you from responding certain ways. This could be movement, attacking, casting spells, or in combination. What you want to do is keep your distance from enemy heroes that you know can stun you, or stick to an ally who can help you or be the stun target. Examples of this would be Shackle by Shadow Shaman, or Taunt by Axe. Buff and debuffs. These spells either make you and your allies stronger, or the people that you're fighting weaker. These spells can either make you and your allies stronger, or your opponents weaker in different ways. It could be increasing your damage, lowering their armor, prevention of status. Examples of this are Repel by Omni Knight and Frost Armor by Lich. Just be careful, because sometimes certain spells fall under more than one category. A good example would be Skeleton King's Stun. It stuns you and also puts a damage over time effect on you. The best way to deal with these spells would be by gaining experience, learning from your mistakes, good teamwork. Buying items. It can be tempting to go for huge damaging items such as Radiance, but it also helps to know that buying your items in a specific order can help for improving your survivability. Give yourself priorities. Some tips here would be braces or wraith bands or null talismans. As talked before, sometimes it can be more useful to make 2 or 3 before going for more expensive items. They provide useful bonuses that help you survive and give you the ability to use more spells and deal more damage early on. Power treads, phase boots, and boots of travel. Upgrading your footwear will also give you a movement speed boost and may come with useful abilities. Power treads if you want the attack speed, phase boots give you a little more damage and also give you a little bonus of speed when activated. Boots of travel give you a teleportation ability, allowing you to teleport to any allied unit. As we talked about earlier, there needs to be a buying order. Sometimes players like to purchase items in the wrong order. So, in order to explain this more thoroughly, we need to look at components of an item. Lincoln's Spear, which is comprised of Preservance, Ultimate Orb, and the Recipe. It's a good idea to start with Ring of Health, which builds Preservance. This gives you bonus regen early on. This will help you survive and save up for your 2100 Ultimate Orb, which is very expensive. Of course, if you were fortunate enough to get enough gold early on, then feel free to buy the more expensive component. However, never ever buy recipes first. Why? Because they don't give you anything and they cost a lot of money. They take up an item slot. They're useless until you buy them last to build the item. Scroll of Town Portal. The reason this item is specifically mentioned here is because it's completely in its own category. It's one of the most important items that every single hero gets in every game. While you do not have to actually buy one at the beginning of the game, this item is extremely useful and provides you with the ability to escape from enemies or to defend your building. For example, imagine certain enemies are attacking bottom tower, there's no one defending that tower, and you're at top tower. Quickly run into the shop, buy a teleportation scroll, teleport down there, they now have to leave because of your presence, and you saved that tower. Be wary of its channeling time, because it can be interrupted by some spells or items. You definitely want to be carrying at least one of these at all times, especially later in game. Finally, let's talk about the map. The map terrain and features are not only for decorative purposes, something that newer players will notice very quickly when they're facing opponents who do have knowledge of the map to make use of this environment and playing field. Here are several aspects of basic understanding that you will need to know to help you understand the map. Elevation. Players in low areas cannot see enemies located above them. They also suffer a mischance when fighting people who are higher than them. Players often get surprised when they seemingly get attacked without warning near a ramp. In short, the higher you are, the better. Terrain. There are many small pathways and little areas of trees that obscure vision and provide perfect hiding spots for your enemies. Sometimes it can be a good idea to run into the trees if you are trying to escape from them. Time. You will have less vision at night, making it easier for opponents to close in and surprise you. Some heroes like Drow Ranger or Night Stalker have a higher than normal vision at night. We'll give more information on that later. Crossing the river. The river divides up the territory between each team. Please be cautious when you decide to travel across to the other side of the map. One of the most common mistakes for less experienced players is to end up fighting creep too far into the other side and eventually be killed because of the result of this. Unless you're extremely confident in your abilities to escape or have allies with you, entering enemy territory will always result in the same ending of you being an easy kill. And finally, the summary. Hopefully after watching this guide and learning more of the fundamentals of the game, you're able to understand some of the mistakes you might have been making as a newer player. What items are useful, how the creeps function, how the towers function, and how to deal with them. Understanding of the map itself will allow you to survive better against players, and learning through experience is the key. Dying happens to everyone. Using the knowledge gained by those deaths is how you improve as a player and make you a better asset to your team in the future. Coming to a close, I'm going to remind you that Dota, although you can individually play, it is in fact a team game. Nothing gives you more survivability than having 4 allies stood next to you. Having coordination with your team can often be the difference between surviving and winning the game together, or just simply dying alone. Thanks for watching this guide, I hope it helped. Mine has been Hollow, I'll see you next time.